If you are a small animal, the plains of Africa can seem a dangerous place. But not if you're a mongoose. These animals never stand alone. They can always count on a friend. But can these feisty little hunters hold their own against all oncomers? For over 50 years, survival has captured spectacular images of the natural world. Now we use the very best to bring you stories of animals as they could occur in the wild. A cobra, one of the most deadly snakes. But this one's been cornered by a team of snake busters. Working as a gang, these tiny predators are fearless. Threatened by the noisy mob, the cobra adopts a defensive posture. Mongooses will attack snakes and are resistant to their venom. But an angry cobra is best avoided. By sticking together, this gang survives the danger of Africa's plains. A land of giants, but size isn't everything. Juna runs this racket, along with her partner Baba. A dense patch of trees bordering marshland is the gang's home. 20 mongoose live in Eagle Log. Juma has got up early and grooms until the rest of the family is out of bed and ready to go hunting. It's still a bit chilly, so the gang bunch together, sharing body warmth. A few of the youngest members of the family will stay indoors. It's much safer than foraging with the grown-ups. Even on their own doorstep, the gang is far from safe. Baba's spotted trouble. The martial eagle is the biggest bird of prey in Africa. And as luck would have it, the eagles have decided to nest right above the gang's log home. It's the second time the huge birds have nested here. Their previous chick, now 2 years old, still hangs around hoping for handouts. But Mum and Dad are starting a new family. It's time he flew the nest. The young eagle is looking for target practice. Luckily, the gang always has someone looking skyward, ready to sound the alarm at approaching danger. Juma isn't going to be intimidated by a young eagle. She leads her family out onto the marsh. Mongoose communicate with each other by smell as well as calling. They rub scent glands on their chests on the ground. If one senses danger, it quickly warns the others. The gang is on full alert. The young eagle swoops. The gang are in it together and react as one. They chirp angrily and stand upright to look as intimidating as they can. Not all the neighbours are a problem. The tiny mongoose are happy to live alongside these giants who provide extra feeding opportunities. Where elephants have churned the mud, mongooses rummage for goodies. Mongoose usually work as a team to tackle any foe, but when it comes to breakfast, it's every mongoose for himself. They'll eat just about anything they can find, including insects and small lizards. But in the swamps, it's snails that are the favoured prey. But these delicacies are well wrapped. Luckily, mongooses are problem solvers. They carry the mollusk to a rock or log and then smash the shell against their anvil. Crunchy on the outside, but chewy on the inside. They chirp with delight. The only thing to spoil their breakfast is one of the neighbours, Mother Eagle. This impressive bird stands over 1 metre tall and can kill much larger prey than mongooses. It knows it's been spotted, but it's just a matter of time before the gang will have to face those talons. For now, the eagle must go in search of alternative prey. Soaring high on thermals, they can forage over several miles, using precision eyesight to pick out prey. On the edge of their range, piles of boulders known as koppies are home to a unique type of antelope. The klipspringer is the tiny king of the hill. Walking on tiptoe, the klipspringer has rubber-tipped hooves to grip the rocks, enabling them to live out of reach of most predators. But not an attack from above. These antelope are about the size of a medium dog, perfect for a hungry martial eagle. But the buck spots its approach and barks a warning to its mate. They can't afford for their rubber feet to let them down now. The bird must return to scouring the ground for another opportunity. For the mongoose gang, crashing thunder is a cue to run for cover. A mongoose caught out in the rain could die from hypothermia. But back in Eagle Log, they can sit out the wet weather and keep warm. There is no such luxury for larger animals. The local lion pride has moved into the gang's patch of trees. Here, the adults seek a little shelter from the storm. But the younger members of the pride are not about to let a little rain dampen their spirits. As the rain subsides, the cubs are up and looking for trouble, and heading straight for Eagle Log. Lion cubs love to investigate. The mongoose gang live in Eagle Log because it's a tiny fortress against attack. But when lions arrive, the fort's doors and windows become weak spots that lions are keen to explore. They seem to find great sport in hunting mongoose and occasionally appear to hunt them just for fun. The plucky pack wants to stand their ground, but at the same time stay just out of reach. Finally, the cubs get bored of their game and seek new targets. Juma checks that the coast is clear and the gang members emerge. They now need to make up for lost time and go in search of food. In a pack this size, there are always young babies that are too small to go foraging with the adults. The grown-up mongoose each take turns in babysitting. Today, the adult in charge is Bapoto. With a couple of younger helpers, she's auntie to this litter of 6 precocious babies. For the next few hours, while the pack forages, it's up to her to protect the kids. Mongoose are little animals with big personalities, but they are overshadowed when true bush giants emerge and join them for breakfast. It provides an unexpected treat for the gang. They are pooper scoopers and enjoy nothing more than getting knee-deep in elephant dung. But it's not the dung itself they are after. The dung attracts dung beetles. These beetles collect balls of dung to bury and lay eggs in, but most here won't get the chance. Mongooses love beetles, which make up 3/4 of their diet. They squirm with delight, anointing themselves with the dung. Mongooses enjoy a head-turning scent. With beetle brunch taken care of, the gang moves on, continuing to patrol their home range. They reach one of their favourite termite mounds, but there is a hint of trouble. Intruders have been here. Juna can tell that another pack has spent the night on her patch. She's not impressed. She leads the pack in a scent war, reclaiming the mound with their own distinctive smells. If these imposters from another gang return, there is a chance they'll attack the troop, killing babies and abducting their mothers. The newly laid scent trail is a keep-out sign. Juna, confident that their defences are restored, leads the troop on. Back at Eagle Log, Bapoto and the other babysitters are enjoying a bit of downtime. The babies are sleepy too, so now everyone can rest. But when you're a small animal on the African plains, it's never a good idea to drop your guard. The Nile monitor is the biggest lizard in Africa. Flicking its tongue to taste the air, it's picked up the scent of potential prey. It hides in the bushes, ready to strike. Most of the gang are at the edge of their territory, unaware of the threat back at home. Normally, the whole troop would be at hand to defend the family. But the pack has struck lucky, finding a mass of juicy caterpillars. The only problem is that these grubs are protected by irritating guard hairs. Luckily, little paws are perfect for de-hairing caterpillars. A quick rub, and they're grub. But the mongooses seem to have disturbed another, much larger grassland inhabitant, a grass snake. But these are the snake busters. Not all meals are easy to get to grips with. However, if a mongoose bites off more than it can chew, it can always call in reinforcements. That gaping mouth could give a painful bite, and the snake's reactions are lightning fast. But so are the mongooses. Back at Eagle Log, babysitter Bapoto is still unaware of the monitor lizard that's picked up their scent. Usually mongooses change their dens every few weeks, but with young babies they've had to stay put for over a month, so their smell is a giveaway that the log is occupied. Bapoto suddenly notices its approach. At her command, the babies make their way for cover deep within the log. Monitors can move fast and strike with speed and precision. It examines the log for a way in. The log contains multiple tunnels, and as the lizard probes, the creche moves deeper, trying to stay out of reach. It's found a way in. Bapoto barks aggressively. Now their only chance is defense. But her distress calls summon help. In the nick of time, the cavalry arrives. It's 20 against 1. The lizard may be far bigger and stronger than a mongoose, but not against the pack combined. Now he's the one who's cornered. They mob the marauder, who chooses a dignified retreat. As always, Eagle Log is being watched from above. The eagle chick is hungry and must make its first kill. But this time, instead of hitting the gang, it's the lizard that's caught its eye. The two animals are evenly matched, and the young bird has no idea what to do next. But Dad is watching. The chick gets out of the way of the professional. With huge talons, it pierces the lizard's body, but getting airborne will be a challenge. The youngster calls excitedly, but this meal is not for him. The adult birds have new chicks in the nest. He must fend for himself. In the heat of midday, the elephants arrive again, seeking some shade. This patch of woodland's getting a bit overcrowded. Juna decides the pups are old enough for their first move. It's time to find a new home. The whole gang is excited. Bapoto's checking each baby over. But then Juna steps in and begins the delicate relocation. All adults lend a hand and carry a pup. Juna leads the way. She knows the route, she's been before. A favourite den site used to raise babies for several generations. The tree root nursery will be their home for the next few weeks. This is not exactly a quiet neighbourhood either. A large troop of olive baboons use the same trees as the mongooses. While our little gang hide in the roots, the baboons hang out in the branches overhead. Both use the surrounding lush grasslands to feed. babies in both families, and they eye each other with curiosity. Each afternoon, the baboons take a siesta in the shade by the tree root nursery. They try to ignore the gang as they forage for grubs around the trunk. The thick fur of the baboons is worth exploring, harbouring a wealth of fleas and ticks that would whet any mongoose appetite. Not that the baboons show much appreciation for the free pest control service. At 5 weeks old, the mongoose babies still need milk every few hours. Only high-ranking females breed, but because mongoose give birth 2 or 3 times a year, there are always several young families in the gang. The mongooses can relax and leave it to the taller baboons to keep watch for danger. Elephants aren't usually a problem, but this young bull is in a mischievous mood. Luckily, he's too big to follow them into the tree root nursery. The babies are ready for their first foraging trip with the rest of the gang. Juna rounds up the troops. Today, they are heading to a stretch of marsh. Many other animals also join them to feed in the lush grass. Mongoose are at their most vulnerable until they're 3 months old. More than half won't make it that far. So Juna and the other adults are highly protective of their brood. The baboon's sharp eyes will be quick to spot predators. The wetter the ground gets, the busier the animal traffic. The babies are too curious for their own good. A heron could swallow a pup whole, so the troop steps in. Saddle-billed and yellow-billed storks patrol the marsh. They are looking for fish, but you never know what other small animals might catch their eye. As usual, the gang sticks together. A united front usually deters would-be predators from getting too close. Crowned cranes are less of a threat. They mostly eat seeds and insects. Besides, these stately birds have other things on their mind. It's the start of their breeding season, and they're dressed to impress. Their ballets help to synchronize pairs. It's the start of a long bonding process. But suddenly, the birds are disturbed. They've spotted a movement in the grass. The gang goes on the defensive. The Mongoose troop are taking a great risk out in the open with their babies. A python more than 4 meters long is taking an unhealthy interest in the brood. This huge reptile could swallow a gazelle. But shoulder to shoulder, the pack mob the hunter. But even the snake busters can't tackle such a large predator. The mongooses round up the babies and try to make their escape. They need to get the nervous little ones across narrow waterways. With a bit of encouragement, the babies are safe on dry land. They head back to the nursery for a well-deserved rest. However, it seems that when they moved dens, they didn't move far enough. One of the adult eagles has spotted the gang. The presence of this deadly hunter causes chaos. They must get the babies underground. Juna grabs an infant and bolts for Tree Root Nursery, and the other adults do the same. But they are so desperate to save their babies that they are not looking out for themselves. But Mongoose don't give up on one of their own. It's all for one and one for all. Barber leads the gang into attack. They want this eagle off their patch for good. Bold as ever, Juna is ready to go head-to-head. Their audacity is enough to unnerve the great bird, and it returns to its nest. Once they are sure that it's safe, they regroup and return to the den. The gang groom and reassure one another. The shaken mongoose is reunited with her babies, and her sister examines her wounds. To reaffirm that everyone's all right, the gang kicks up a stink, scent marking each other for reassurance. Once again, their camaraderie has saved the pack. Soaring on thermals above their nest, the eagles can see new arrivals headed for the marsh. Guests that will transform the mongoose's home. Not just a few visitors, but millions. The Great Wildebeest Migration. Vast herds that spend their entire lives in a constant circular trek, exhausting each grassland as they go, then following the rains to fresh pastures. Unaware of the masses heading their way, the mongoose gang is foraging along the banks of a river. This marks the furthest boundary of their home range. The pups are now 12 weeks old and have no problem keeping up with the pack. The riverbank is new to the youngsters. Each baby has a personal coach, an adult that shows it the ropes. They will even share their precious food with the babies. One of the tastiest meals has the habit of digging to escape the heat. It could have a mongoose hopping mad. But there is nowhere a frog can hide. Play fights erupt, a sure sign that some of the females, including Juna, their leader, are ready to mate. But they soon return to the task of filling their stomachs. But this meal's got a sting in its tail. For the snake busters, even this scorpion is fair game. Juna starts digging from the other side, hoping to excavate the scorpion before her mate. But Barber wiggles it free. His first challenge, to disarm the sting. Though it's potent venom, the mongoose has evolved an immunity to it. Frogs and scorpions are just some of the treats on the riverbanks. But this treasure hunt is not without risks. Crocodiles line the banks. Normally they might snap at a careless mongoose, but today they have larger prey in their sights. The first waves of wildebeest and other grazers are arriving on the far side of the river. Some of the reptilian giants may not have eaten for a year, awaiting the return of the herds. Despite the dangers of the river and stresses of migration, the wildebeest bulls are looking to breed. They charge around the herds looking for females and wrestling with other males. The shallows are a dangerous place to get distracted. The gang are careful where they drink. Any sign of a croc and they clear the shore. Not all of the predators are waiting to intercept the migration. This female is tending to her newly hatched babies. At this age, the hatchlings are vulnerable, but crocs are protective parents. But despite the potential threat of an angry mother crocodile, the mongoose know that a new litter could make a fine feast. They visit the dragon's lair. The crocodile has laid around 20 eggs, but not all of them hatched. The tasty contents of these eggs are worth fighting for, and unusually, squabbles break out among the pack. Though the eggs are about the same size as a hen's egg, the shell is thick and rubbery. And here, there aren't any rocks that they can be bashed against. Cracking the shell may require some energetic maneuvers. Mongooses had been so engrossed in egg stealing, they didn't notice a crowd growing on the other side of the river. But gradually, the vibrations from thousands of hooves reach the crocodile nest. Juna sounds the alarm. It's time to get out of the way. The gang has left their retreat a bit late. Wildebeest are flooding into the river. This is the moment the crocodiles have been waiting for. Chaos and confusion grow amid wildebeest herds as they reach the greatest obstacle blocking their migration, the river. Young animals follow the herds for the first time. It's these inexperienced wildebeest that are most at risk from crocodile attack. The youngsters do their best to stick close to the mothers, but with more and more animals driving the herd from behind, the calves are easily separated and confused. The crocodiles strike, but fail to get a purchase. Smaller Thompson's gazelles travel alongside the wildebeest. These delicate animals move with high speed, and they need to. The crocodiles are moving in. The large wildebeest have blocked escape routes on the riverbank. The gazelles are trapped. Try as they might, the bank is just too steep to climb. Repeatedly, they dodge the deadly jaws, but they are starting to tire. Any stragglers are picked off, fueling panic for the rest of the herd. Many of the gazelles escape. The crocodile attacks are barely enough to dent their numbers. On the other side, wildebeest catch their breath before continuing their trek. The gang finds themselves in some heavy traffic. The last stragglers are finally getting across the river, and a traffic jam is forming on the edge of the Mongoose territory. Gradually, the herds reform, getting back to their mission to find fresh grass. They haven't got far to go. Their target, the marsh, is in the middle of the Mongoose's home. Tree Root Nursery is completely surrounded. Juma decides it's time to move home again, so she rallies the troops. But this maneuver needs to be carefully orchestrated. It's hard for the gang to stay together, but they slowly progress in small teams. They need to delicately pick their way through the hooves without causing a pileup. Luckily, the grazers are more interested in refueling after their journey and let the little snake busters pass. Juma's leading the gang to another old den in drier ground on the extreme far side of their range, and gradually the pack's clear of the hungry herbivores. Termite Castle comes into view. This home has burrows going deep into the mound, a maze of escape routes and safe underground chambers. Juma has chosen this site carefully. She's pregnant and is looking for a safe place to deliver her new brood. The great herds only stay for a few weeks. They keep constantly on the move to avoid eating themselves out of house and home. the herd out of the way, a pair of ostriches make the most of the open space with a courtship dance. The black and white male shadows his drab mate, his neck flushing red as a sign that he is ready to breed. The gang keeps a close eye on their new neighbours, but they are not headed out this morning. The reason for their slow start is lying deep below them. Juna has given birth. The two tiny pups will keep her busy for the next few days. But Baba is keen to get the troop out looking for food. There is good reason for keeping an eye on the huge birds nearby. The male ostrich has managed to round up several females. Each will lay a few eggs into his nest, but only one will stay with him and help to hatch and raise the young. The females hiss, squabbling over who will get the maternal role for this clutch. The instinct to stick together is so strong for the gang, it's hard for them to leave Juna behind. But ostrich's eggs are just too tempting. While the male ostrich is getting his girls together, they wander from the nest, something the mongoose are quick to spot. Deep in her well-protected nest chamber, Juna will be safe. But as an extra precaution, the troop leaves a few sentries to stand guard. While the big birds are busy, they check out the nest. Each egg is the equivalent of 24 chicken eggs, a huge meal of protein. If only the mongoose can get in. The nest is on a bed of sand, so the gang can't bash them against rocks. They roll them around in frustration, hoping the uneven ground will fracture their tough shells. But they are running out of time. They have been spotted by one very angry mother ostrich. Though her brood has been scattered about in the grass, no damage has been done. For once, the snake busters have been beaten. Meanwhile, the home guard keeps an eye out for trouble. Most animals pass by and are no cause for alarm. But then they spot approaching mongoose. This is not the gang. It's an invasion. This den site is in the strike zone for other troops looking to expand their range. With only a few guards at the den, they are in trouble. Far outnumbered by these newcomers, they take to the ground. Their only chance to try and defend the entrances from the inside. Juna's litter will be killed if the defences are breached. But the home guard puts up a good defence. The attackers try to find a way in, but every hole seems to contain an angry resident baring its teeth. leader of the opposition picks up some shapes moving in the grass. The pack is back. The gang has realized that something's wrong. They are on the warpath to reclaim their turf. The battle is brutal, but brief. No one is going to drive this gang from their den. Juna finally emerges to make sure the troop is safe. Thanks to the gang's strong bonds, her babies have been saved. The little ones can play, oblivious to the efforts that have been made to protect them. They are the future for this close family, and the gang will give them the best possible start in life. Thanks to the Mongoose rule, all for one and one for all, these snake busters are on a winning streak. It will take more than pythons, eagles, or invading troops to kick this family out of its home. It proves that it's not how big you are that counts, it's being able to count on your family.